Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Tuesday, May the 14th. Big Tuesday slate today, 12 gamer. I'm going to go through the pitcher player pool, talk about the pitchers I like. We'll start off there. We'll look at some pitchers I'll be targeting on this 12 game slate. Then we'll talk about some hitters I like, 3 hitters. I'll give my 2 core pitchers, then 3 hitters. Then we'll go over some stacks and we'll look at BVP plays towards the end of the video. Just before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. I would really appreciate it. But let's go ahead and start off at the top of the pitcher player pool. Chris Sale is our most expensive option on both DraftKings and Yahoo. Well, actually on Yahoo, him and Morton are the same price, so Morton and Sale leading the salary on Yahoo, same price. $300 difference on DraftKings between Sale and Morton. And I think both guys are in great spots here. Chris Sale's been dominant lately. Now he gets the Rockies at home outside of Coors Field. This Rockies team really does struggle outside of Coors. Not as good of a hitter's park in Boston, although Fenway is still a pretty decent hitter's park. Not close, or not even close to Coors Field. So Sale, I think, is in a very good spot. But it's just hard for me to overlook a guy like Charlie Morton, who gets to face a Marlins team that's just so bad offensively and does strike out at a decent rate versus right-handed pitching. And if we do look at this Marlins lineup, they are projected to only roll out 3 lefties. So there's going to be 6 righties in this Marlins lineup. Charlie Morton, elite versus righties, strikes them out at a high rate. So I think Morton's the guy that I want to pay up for today. If I have to play one lineup, I think I'm going to be paying up for Morton. I do play about 20 lineups, though, per day. So I'll probably have, I'd say 40% Morton, 30 Sale or 25 Sale. I like both guys. I'm going to have exposure to both guys, but I expect to have more of Charlie Morton. I just think he's in the better matchup overall. Although getting the Rockies outside of Coors Field, definitely a spot you can take advantage of. Clayton Kershaw, Chris Paddack, on the other hand, probably the 2 guys I'm going to be avoiding the most on this slate. I don't think these guys are going to get blown up by any means, but I just don't know if the upside's really there. This Padres lineup does roll out about 7-8 righties. Only lefty in the lineup is Eric Hosmer, so a lot of these right-handed Padres bats are going to have the advantage facing Kershaw, facing a lefty, although Kershaw's been very good this year. He just doesn't have the upside. He doesn't get the strikeouts. He can get outs, he can get ground balls, but he's just not getting Ks right now, which is what we need for fantasy. Chris Paddack, on the other hand, has been getting a ton of strikeouts lately, has been absolutely dominant. Last 2 outings, especially that outing against the Mets, he went 7 2/3 innings with 11 Ks. We saw him get 9 Ks against Seattle, so Paddack has the upside, but his matchup is very tough against a pretty good Dodgers lineup. So Paddack and Kershaw, I think, are 2 guys I'm going to definitely be avoiding today. I would just rather play Morton, and I would rather play Sale. Noah Syndergaard, I don't mind, but he's another guy that I'm probably just going to be a little bit underweight on. This Nationals team is starting to get healthy now. They have Juan Soto back. They have Anthony Rendon back. It's not as cupcake of a matchup as it has been these last few slates when the Nationals have been on the slate. This Nationals lineup getting healthy, so Syndergaard, another guy that I think I'd be going underweight on. Caleb Smith, though, at 9,500, I do like quite a bit. If you want to save off the top 2 options, Sale and Morton, and go down to a guy like Caleb Smith, I think that makes a ton of sense. Caleb Smith has just been so dominant lately. Last 4 starts, he's got at least 8 strikeouts in every start. His last start against the Cubs, he had 11 strikeouts. Been very consistent, over 25 DraftKings points in 5 straight starts, actually. Caleb Smith in a really good spot at home against the Rays. This is a Rays lineup that is pretty good, but there are strikeouts in this lineup. It's a great pitcher's park as well. I think playing both pitchers in this game makes a lot of sense. It's just hard to play them together because they're both very expensive. But I'll have lineups with Morton, I'll have lineups with Smith, and maybe I'll have a lineup or 2 with both of them, but that's only going to be if I can find a cheap stack that I like. But now let's go down to maybe the value tier. Trying to find some cheap options that we can pair with our expensive guys that we really like. Wade Miley at 7,900 against the Tigers, I think, is definitely in play. If you want to go to him, I think Danny Duffy at 7,700, another guy that I'm going to have some exposure to today that's going to be in my player pool. I really like Trent Thornton. I think Trent Thornton's in a very good spot here against the Giants, 7,300. He's the cheap guy that I like to pair with Charlie Morton. On Yahoo, I think Trent Thornton is probably the best value pitcher by far. He's down here at $27. Close to minimum price. Love Trent Thornton over on Yahoo. So he gets to face a Giants lineup that we know offensively is just so bad versus both sides of the plate, versus right-handers versus left-handers. this Giants lineup just doesn't have any good hitters in it. It's a great pitcher's park as well. We see two teams with both under 4 implied run total, 3.7 implied run total for the Giants, 3.8 for the Blue Jays. I think both pitchers in this game are in play. Trent Thornton at 7,300 I like a lot. Tyler Beede at 6,200, who's going to be the long man. I think he is in play as well as a value pitcher. Nick Vincent's going to open the game, but he's only going to go about 1 or 2 innings. He's not playable in my opinion. I think Beede, Thornton, two guys you can target from this game, both make sense as cheap pitchers if you want to go there. Other value pitchers, though, that we could possibly consider. I don't think Joe Musgrove's the worst play at 6,500, although he's been getting absolutely lit up lately. I still think you can take pitchers against this Diamondbacks team when it's the right spot. With how Musgrove is so cheap right now at 6,500, he's at least going to be a guy I leave in my player pool. I guess it's to be determined how many lineups he shows up in, but he's going to be a guy I at least leave in my pool. But you do have Beede at 6,200 you could look to. Those are some value arms that I like to pair with the expensive guys. So those are just some of the pitchers I'll be targeting on this night slate. Let's go ahead and talk about some bats. So we're going to start off at first base. I think the Royals are in a great spot today versus Shelby Miller. I really like Ryan O'Hearn. He's only 3,600 on DraftKings at first base. He's also pretty cheap on Yahoo at $15. This Royals team is going to be one of my favorite stacks on the slate. We look at their implied run total and their matchup facing Shelby Miller, a 5 implied run total for the Royals. Some cheap bats in this lineup, not a ton of value. Like Merrifield, Mondesi are pretty expensive. Alex Gordon's 4,800, Dozier's 4,900. But Soler at 4,400 is a pretty nice price. Ryan O'Hearn, I love at 3,600. I think he's one of the better cheap options available on this slate. Gutierrez at 3,600 you have. If you want a punt catcher, you can play Martin Maldonado, who's only 2,400. That definitely opens up some value. But the guys we obviously want to target from the Royals are at the top of the lineup with Merrifield, Mondesi, Gordon, Dozier. Those guys are pretty expensive, but you do have some value with Ryan O'Hearn, who I like quite a bit versus Shelby Miller. Shelby Miller, this dude sucks. He can't get anybody out, can't get righties out, can't get lefties out. He's just a guy that gives up a lot of home runs, just not a good pitcher. So I really like these Royals bats. Love Ryan O'Hearn. Love Alberto Mondesi as well. 5,300 on DraftKings, very expensive on both sites. $24 on Yahoo, pretty expensive over there as well. But it's just such a good matchup for Mondesi facing Shelby Miller. Like I said, a dude that just can't get anybody out. Mondesi has a ton of power. He could easily take Shelby Miller deep. If Mondesi gets on base, he can steal bases as well. The dude just has a ton of upside. And obviously, Whit Merrifield at 5,100 is a great play as well. But I really do like Mondesi at 5,300 with the platoon advantage versus Shelby Miller. Love this Royal stack today. It's going to be a stack that I load up on quite a bit. Then another team I think might go overlooked today is going to be the A's. I really like Chris Davis, whether you're stacking the A's or if you want to play Chris Davis as a one-off. I really like him at 4K on DraftKings. He's very cheap on Yahoo as well. He's all the way down here at $13. I think he's a great outfield sort of value play if you need value. I think you can stack up the A's today versus Mike Leake. Leake's not a pitcher that I'm really afraid to pick on. He doesn't really get strikeouts. He pitches in the zone. He pitches to contact. And there's a lot of good hitters in this A's lineup that can hit the ball well, that don't strike out that much. If Leake's going to throw the ball in the zone, guys like Simeon, Profar, Chapman, Davis, Olson, Piscotty, these guys can take advantage of that. And they are all very cheap. Most expensive hitter in this lineup is Chapman at 4,500. Then you have Chris Davis at 4K, and then everyone else is under 4K. So if you're looking for a value stack, if you want to pay up for pitching, maybe if you want to go with two expensive pitchers and you need a value stack, I think the A's with the 4.6 implied run total versus Mike Leake do make a ton of sense here. And I love Chris Davis at 4K. Facing a guy in Mike Leake who's going to throw the ball in the zone, not going to strike you out. Davis does struggle with strikeouts. That's something he is really bad at, but he's facing a pitcher that's not going to get strikeouts. So I think this is a great spot for Chris Davis to get back on track. He's been slumping lately, but this is a really good spot for him to definitely go deep. So these are my 5 plays for DraftKings today and my 5 plays for Yahoo. These are 5 guys that I really like quite a bit. But now let's talk about some of the stacks that I'll be going to on this 12-game slate. Then we'll go over some BVP plays. So my favorite stack is the Royals. Like I said, I love the Royals here versus Shelby Miller. I think they are in a great spot. And there are some other teams with pretty high totals on this slate, so maybe the Royals go a bit overlooked. As a value stack, I really like the A's, 4.6 implied run total versus Mike Leake. There's a lot of cheap bats in this A's lineup. That's a team I'm definitely going to be pretty heavy on. Obviously, the Astros are in a great spot here versus Ryan Carpenter, but they are very expensive. Like Springer's up to 5,800. Alex Bregman finally saw a price jump. He's all the way up to 5,500. Even Brantley versus a lefty's 5,400. Correa, pretty nice price at 4,900. Gurriel's cheap, White's cheap, Diaz is cheap, but the guys you really want to play are at the top of that lineup, and they're all pretty expensive. But I still will be stacking up the Astros here versus Ryan Carpenter. Ryan Carpenter, dude's just not good. The Astros 5.9 implied run total shows it. So I do really like the Astros if you can find a way to fit them in. But those are the teams I'm mainly looking at here. Other stacks that we could maybe consider if you want to go up against Joe Musgrove because how poorly he's been lately. 4.7 implied run total for the D-backs. I could see going to some D-backs hitters, but they are also very expensive. It's pretty hard to fit them in with the expensive pitching on the slate. And if I'm going to pay up for an expensive stack, it's definitely going to be the Astros today over the D-backs. I really like the A's, I really like the Royals, and I really like the Astros. Those are my three favorite teams to stack up today. I'm probably mix in some of these other teams, but those three teams are going to be my focus and my core. But now let's talk about some BVP plays. So there are quite a bit of BVP plays today. I'm just going to cover the ones that I see that really catch my eye. So Anthony Rendon, 10 for 32, 2 home runs off of Noah Syndergaard. Starlin Castro actually has pretty good BVP off of Charlie Morton, 12 for 30 with 3 home runs. Let's see here. Albert Pujols, 6 for 28, 3 home runs off Kyle Gibson. Jorge Soler, 5 for 12, 3 home runs off of Shelby Miller. Matt Chapman, 6 for 16, 2 home runs off of Mike Leake. Stephen Piscotty, 6 for 17 with a home run off of Mike Leake. So those are a couple guys you could target versus Leake. They got pretty decent BVP. But that's probably it for all the BVP plays I'm going to cover. If you do want to look at all of them, you can pause the video here and look at all the BVP plays for today. But I think that's it for the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. Hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that like button down below. I would really appreciate it. And make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Or like always, you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. Feel free to leave any comments down below in the comment section, or you can message me on Twitter if you have any questions. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Good luck tonight.